Welcome back to our latest episode on talking restoration. So, in the last episode, we talked about some of the key principles for successful restoration. We talked about one of those being working with people or involving all the stakeholders. And I promised you that we'll be back to talk about the other 9 principles. Now, please do not forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Look for Humor Philip and follow me, and then share our video clips. But now, as I mentioned previously, that the UN declared this decade to be a decade of ecosystem restoration. And to do this or to achieve this, there are 10 principles that scientists have come up with for a successful restoration. We discussed one, and now wanted to focus on the other 9 that are left. 1. It should be a successful restoration needs to have a continuum or a spread of different practices. There is no one practice that fits all. It involves agroforestry, it involves natural regeneration, it involves farmer-managed natural regeneration, it involves enhanced kind of restoration. It also involves using kind of seed banks and other different approaches. However, this should be able to focus on where you have the highest potential for ecosystem health, where you have highest potential for planetary health, but also for the benefits of humans. So when you are investing in restoration, you need to consider that the benefits must be highest in that particular location. It's about an opportunity cost. If you are investing $2, you must be able to have more than $2 coming to the ecosystem health, but also to the people. Critically of all this really, as number 3 of the other 9 principles, is that it should be able to address the drivers of degradation. First of all, there is always an old saying that you can never solve a problem using the same methods that caused it. So in other words, you need to identify what caused degradation in the first place and put in place mechanisms to address this. So restoration, successful restoration, must address drivers to degradation. There is usually a tendency that think that it's the science that works only, or maybe what people know is the best. It's the best knowledge available there. But there is a whole lot of knowledge, and here you need to be able to incorporate in all types of knowledge, be it from indigenous communities, working with people, the science that we know, the practices. So you should be able to mix all types of knowledges that are available. Number 5, as a key principle, is that this should be context specific. It should be within the local context. You are not going to bring something from Bolivia and it will work in Uganda. Neither are you going to pick something from Nigeria and take it to Madagascar. So it should be context specific. Within the broader geographies, you should be able to localize it. In Uganda, for example, what works in Mabira may not work in Kagombe. What works in Amuru may never work in Kisoro. So you have to look at the context, you have to look at the local communities, and also look at what they really need. To achieve this, as a key principle number 6, you need to be able to set goals, and then these goals which are well defined with clear objectives on what you want to achieve, and then you'll be able to measure against that. That becomes principle number 7, that these goals have to be tracked over time. If you want to restore 2,000 hectares, clearly set it out that I'm going to restore 2,000 hectares, and progressively work towards measuring how far you've gone. For instance, the practices that we have here, we have a target to do 2,700 hectares, and over time we track and say how far have we gone with this. The tracking can be able to use different tools, different technologies that are available. We work with ICT these days, and you should be able to track and know how far you've gone. Now, lastly, out of the 9 principles, it should be able to include support structures so that impacts last. For sustainability, work with the communities, work with the structures that are existing, the local governments, the different stakeholders, bring together the faith-based institutions, bring together the cultural institutions so that you're able to work. When you've stopped your restoration in one project, as a project in one location, you need this to progress beyond that. Work with the young people, the youth, so that you can have a continuous effort in restoration for the long time. So that is what has come up, the 10 principles that are essential for restoration. And please, pick 1 or 2, think about them, and then when we return next time, we'll be able to delve into another session. See you then.